shown that he has a big character. The way he actually gets crashed into that big three as well, the way he has held himself, the way he has, been able to navigate his career, it was never in doubt for me that he will get over that big one at the US Open. He will get over that disqualification and he will be back to business, and that is what he has shown us at the Italian Open. Just like nothing happened, straight set, he just dispatched his opponent there, and that is what you always expect from the big man whenever he is on any tennis court, wherever, whether on the grass, whether on clay court. He has shown that he has very, very big abilities, and you will say maybe he's better on the hard court, obviously, but on any court he's still one of the favorites, and the Italian Open will continue. Then for Andy Murray,
Margaret Court.
This is a very, very contentious one. Maybe because of certain values, you feel that she should be taken, her name should be taken off. But I don't agree with him. She's a legend of the game.
Because her name got there because of what she did, not what she said.
Not because of what she did, exactly. Because of what she did on the court. Some people have even argued that most of the things she did on the court was before the Open era, was before this era. So some people, they say Serena Williams is still the most successful in the Open era. But all those things will not erase what she has done, what she has been able to do, and it will not take away her values. If she feels those things she's saying is what
personal views.
They are personal views, and of course we cannot take anything away from. She's a legend, and if she's saying those things, we just have to listen. We don't necessarily have to agree with whatever she's saying.
Okay,
but we just have to listen. I think I don't go with Andy Murray on that.
Well, it's not just Andy Murray who is thinking that like that. Martina Navratilova and John McEnroe has also called for Court's name to be stripped from the stadium just because of her personal views, which are not, in the same line with others. Murray says, when you get to the court, you want to focus on playing tennis, but those comments from Margaret Court distracts you. That's what Andy Murray seems to think with that. But hey, that's what's going on in the world of tennis. Let's head over to basketball this morning. Tell you about Los Angeles Lakers forward LeBron James and Milwaukee Bucks forward Giannis Antetokounmpo unanimously were selected to the 2019-2020 All-NBA First Team. The league announced yesterday. James set the NBA record with his 16th All-NBA team selection, surpassing the 15th set by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kobe Bryant, and Tim Duncan. Now, James' total includes a record 13 selections to the first team, where he was also named twice to the second team and once to the third. Antetokounmpo, that's the reigning NBA MVP, and James both received all NBA first team votes on all 100 ballots to finish with 500 points each. Antetokounmpo has earned 4 All-NBA honors, including 2 to the first team. It's not like we're surprised about this first and second team.
Definitely not surprised. Good morning to you, Blessing. Good morning to Faith, and of course that's where Tim Litz now out there. Always good to be back again to talk sports. Well, talking about this, it's very not surprised anyway, like you actually said. These guys have had an amazing season in the world of basketball right there, right from the regular season to when the bubble actually started right there, and even now in the playoffs. Well, one might have had a better playoff than the other, talking about LeBron James, unlike Giannis, who had actually struggled, and of course he actually crashed out to Miami Heat right there in the playoff. But then you can't take anything away from what he has been able to achieve right there, for Milwaukee Bucks. As a matter of fact, they are thinking of actually, recruiting more players that can actually help him, to win the NBA.
Anything to keep him with the team.
Exactly, anything to just keep him at the team right there. So I think, well deserved for these guys. And of course, this is the first time two teams, two players from a team would actually be making it to that particular all-time first team together since, Steve Nash and of course Amar, did it in 2007, 2006, 2007 season. So I think, these two guys for Lakers have been amazing, so fantastic for themselves this particular season. And, I'm still tipping them. They are one of the favorites to actually making it into the finals of the finals and actually getting to win it at the end of the day. I'm talking about other players that also made it to. James Harden of Houston Rockets also made it. And of course, Luka Doncic, fantastic career.
Anthony Davis as well.
Yeah, Anthony Davis as well. This man has had a very fantastic career for himself this particular season. Talking about Doncic, he was actually one of the best, if not the best, for Dallas Mavericks in this particular season, and he has been able to push them so far this particular season. As a matter of fact, I was actually disappointed disappointed that he's not actually included in the All MVP nominees, because he has actually gotten to that level. He has earned himself that particular standard right there in the NBA. So I think these names, they are not actually surprised. And of course, talking about the second team as well, Kawhi Leonard, Nikola Jovic, Damian Lillard, Chris Paul, and of course Pascal Siakam making it in the second team right
I mean, you'd think that for all the noise about Damian Lillard and maybe Kawhi Leonard, you'd see them in the first team.
It's difficult. It's very, very difficult.
Know,
they did very well. You can't take that away from them. But then look at those names in the first team. Who are you going to displace for these guys?
Indeed.
They had an amazing season for their team. So I think it's just what it is. They have to settle for second.
Indeed, settle for second team there. Away from basketball, let's rush into athletics. Tell you about Lamine Diack, the former the head of World Athletics governing body, who was convicted in France yesterday of corruption in a Russian doping scandal and sentenced to spend at least 2 years in jail. Diack is 87. He was found guilty of accepting bribes from athletes suspected of doping to cover up test results and let them continue competing, including in the 2012 London Olympics. The court also found Diack guilty of accepting Russian money to help finance Macky Sall's campaign for the 2012 Senegal presidential election in exchange for slowing anti-doping procedures. Now, prosecutors said Diack had solicited bribes totaling 3.45 million euros from athletes suspected of drug cheating. The presiding judge said the former long jumper's action had undermined the values of athletics and the fight against doping. The court handed Diack a 4-year prison sentence, 2 years of which were suspended. It also imposed the maximum fine of 500,000 euros. Diack was once one of the most influential men in the sport, leading the IAAF from 1999 to 2015. I mean, how do you go from being one of the most celebrated to disgraced?
Very, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate scene out there. That is the problem I have with people that must have stayed for a very long time at a position. It was there, just like you said, from 99 to 2015. That's about 16 years. So maybe there's a way you eventually begin to do some things. And, it is very unfortunate because we've been fighting against doping. To think that the former president of the IAAF, which is now called World Athletics, was actually maybe collecting money, being involved in corruption to take away some doping records, take away different things, and these are things that we shouldn't even be hearing. But one thing is, I don't want to go too hard on him. I don't want to go to the extreme because his lawyers have said they would appeal, so maybe the case will still be in court.
As at now, he's still guilty, so I'll go ash on him. He has done absolutely nonsense and wrong, and he deserves everything he's getting at this point in time. This is someone that a lot of people are actually looking up to as a leader, as someone that is a mentor to some people, and you're found in this kind of regard. Come on, I think even after this, when it comes out from jail, it should be banned from any sporting activity at all, because this is so terrible. We are trying to take away doping, to bring transparency, to bring this level of transparency into the sports, and you are there as a leader bringing that level of corruption. Come on, it's unheard of, really. I think at this point in time, I think you should even be getting more than this as a leader, as someone that we are actually looking up to. Come on.
What if he goes to a higher court and he gets a positive ruling? What would
he hasn't gotten that now. So at this point in time, he's still guilty.
Well, we
based
should
on the
wait.
ruling that we have.
For me, I feel we should wait until maybe the highest level or wherever he wants to appeal that. Maybe the case and whatever, whatever court he will take that to, and we will listen and we hear the final judgment. Then before we can be able to bring out our stick and then castigate.
But you know that these guys would not actually take him to this extent if they do not have a very valid,
evidence.
Speaking
of evidence, why is it that they haven't released names of athletes that Diack helped, to cover up their doping process as well? I think that also should be considered.
It should be considered, but I believe they will have all those names in court. Maybe they are not just releasing it to the public, considering that the case is still going on. But I'll wait to see how it goes. But then it's very, very unfortunate. This is one of, it's supposed to be one of those African legends that we should be pointing at as one of those big people that were able to make their name. aside being an athlete, he was a long jumper. He went into administration and he caught a very big career out of that. But unfortunately, he's going down this ladder. But I'm still hoping that maybe something positive will come out of it.
I'm not hoping.
It's straight to boxing here. Nigerian heavyweight boxer Ife Ajagba says he's ready to make his much touted debut on Top Rank on Saturday against experienced Johnny Rice in a 10-round fight. Ajagba versus Rice will be co-feature to the Jose Pedraza and versus Javier Molina Jr. welterweight main event at the MGM Grand Las Vegas. Maybe on Saturday we'll talk about this fight and talk about the steady rise of this man Ife Ajagba. Away from that, come home here to Nigeria. I'll tell you about Nigerian table tennis legend Segun Toriola, who has hit out as state sports councils, accusing them of killing sports in Nigeria and failing in their task of providing support and structure for talented athletes to have successful careers in Nigeria. Listen to Segun Toriola. This man speaks from experience.
We have very few of them that they really improve there, but I believe if they have support, there's going to be a Nigerian champion of tomorrow. But right now, the problem they have, the most young one Nigerian is coach. So, most of them don't really have coach. Most of them, they practice on their own. And that's the big problem we have. During my time when I was young, we have coach, we have support. But right now, they don't have coach. Right now, they don't have support. Especially the State Sports Council is the worst. They are killing sports in Nigeria. That's the truth. Most of people always say the sport ministry, not the sport ministry, because the sport ministry, their job is when there is game to select the best player in Nigeria. And the sport ministry, they have to do a little bit, but when I was young, it's the sports council to take care of that. But right now, most of the sports council, some they don't have a coach. There's no equipment for the young ones. For the young ones, it's not easy, frankly. It's very tough for them. But the federation is really trying, to support, for give them equipment, and we players, so professional players, we try to support them with equipment.
Okay, the words of Segun Toriola, they accusing sports councils. Feromi, where do you stand on this? Do you agree with him?
I think to some extent he's actually right, because if you look at it when you go down to the state level, these are people that they are tasked to be able to monitor the grassroots sports right here in the states. But to some extent I think they have actually failed, because when you look at it, what exactly can you actually pinpoint that these people are doing to actually discover new talents, to be able to make sure that they actually advocate for infrastructure right here in the state? Because one major problem that we actually know that is the problem of these young athletes, young and upcoming athletes, is the fact that they lack that training facility to be able to actually equip themselves. And it is left for this people to be able to advocate for them on the state level that try as much as possible to bring this down to the state. So I think, to some extent, I think I want to agree with him that, we need to do more. We need to do more in order to actually equip and make sure that our young athletes go out there and do well.
We've been talking about the bottom to top approach, in sport development, and that is what he's talking about. And time again, our sportsmen always come out to talk about all these things. They are talking about, different administrative issues, different poor administration and all that. And that is, I will always have its ripple effect on the entire result. And we have to look at the grassroots, just like he said. What are they doing at those state FAs? What are they doing to get some of those best athletes on board, best table tennis players, best boxers, best whatever, to do well for themselves? But I think this should be a wake-up call for the authorities. They know that they need to be doing more. As much as we're doing, we're looking at the top, we also should look at the bottom and look at what they are doing to help the top. So I'll wait to see how it goes. We hope for a positive result. Generally, we are all praying and hoping for a positive sporting development in our country.
Okay, when will sports return in Nigeria?
Oh, jam question.
Okay, I'm still asking anyway. Let's move on to the NPFL. Sonjay Adetunji has joined Plateau United ahead of the 2020-2021 NPFL season. The lanky 22-year-old striker confirmed his move to the Jos side yesterday, uploading a picture of him signing a contract in the club's jersey on Twitter. Did you see that picture, Faith?
Yeah, I saw it.
I thought that was the basic thing anyone could do when unveiling a player in
Definitely.
Nigeria.
You know, that is what we've been talking about in recent times. We've been talking about branding, and we saw that maybe because he went out of the country briefly and he has gotten,
And he gained more
he's gotten foreign exposure.
Yeah.
Even though he played in Czech Republic and not even at the first division, but you know, we saw that even the club is not even doing enough to unveil him. He's the player that has taken it upon himself to do the unveiling. I saw the letter he wrote. That is what our players should begin to do, what our sportsmen should begin to do. The whole world is watching. You put this on your social media space. People are seeing this. No, it gives you a bigger brand. In fact, you would have a higher negotiating power when you go into all these business discussion. So a good one that Sunday has done this. Maybe this is a wake-up call to our players that you don't just have to try to jet out of the country to the third division in one obscure league over there in Europe or over there in Asia or wherever. The Nigerian Professional Football League is still gives you a better platform to a reasonable extent with the kind of examples, with the kind of statistics we have on ground. Those that have gone to all those obscure leagues, what have they been able to do? And this is someone that has come back. Maybe he will be able to find his foot back. A very good centre forward in his day. So we're wishing him the very best.
And speaking of a good centre forward, he has been brought in to replace Tosin Amoyele, who moved to Eyimba. And he is coming from Eyimba. But the thing is, he'll be playing in the CAF Champions League next season, lining out for the Abdul Makaiba side. Away from Nigeria, let's move over to France. Tell you about Paris Saint-Germain forward Neymar, who has been banned for 2 games after being sent off against Marseille. But French football authorities say they will investigate the accusation of racial abuse. It wasn't the only one banned who received ban. PSG defender Levin Kozawa was suspended for 6 matches as well, and his teammate Leandro Paredes has been banned for 2 games, while for Marseille, Jordan Amavi received a 3-match suspension and Dario Benedetto must sit out 1 game. But the French Ligue 1, the governing body, is saying that they will investigate Neymar's accusation there on racism. Angel Di Maria will be summoned to the LFP's disciplinary commission meeting. That's on the 23rd of September, following claims that he spat at Marseille's Gonzalez. Meanwhile, the president of the French Football Federation, Noël Le Graët, says racism does not exist in football. That's in response to that fracas between Marseille and PSG. He said, as far as it's concerned, the problem with racism in football is overblown. I'm going to take a quote for him now. He says, when a black player scores a goal, the whole stadium is on its feet. This phenomenon of racism in sport and in football in particular does not exist at all or barely exist. It is a match that the entirety of France was anticipating. It went badly. The behavior of those players was not exemplary. We deplore that. It's a shame they were not able to keep their cool, nor give the show that we were expecting. I don't know what to say about this man, but I don't think we should waste time on it and move forward. This is comments about racism. I mean, if you deny racism in football, you are denying the obvious. That's just what it is. We're joining our partners at the BBC right now for the BBC Premier League update. We'll return to wrap up Sports Bank. Stay with us.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Hello, this is Jo Parsons at the BBC Sports Centre. The 4-time Champions League winner Gareth Bale is in talks to rejoin Tottenham Hotspur on a season-long loan. The Wales forward joined Real Madrid for a then-world record fee of $110 million in 2013. Spurs manager Jose Mourinho refused to speculate on the move, but did say he'd had a huge influence on Bale's career.
Even before that, I tried to sign him for Real Madrid, which was not possible to do during my time there, but the president followed my instinct and followed my knowledge, and the season I left, he brought Gareth to the club. There is no secret on that. I think even Gareth knows that, but I'm not going to speak about him anymore because he's a Real Madrid player.
Well, staying with Tottenham, and defender Eric Dyer says the team were disappointed by their opening game display. Spurs lost 1-0 to Everton last Sunday. Dyer says the team have learnt from their mistakes.
We're men, we're not kids, you know, like when the manager isn't making those comments to try and affect us in a negative way. I think he's just giving his honest assessment of what he felt like, how the game went. We have to accept that, take that on board and try and change. As I said before, you know, as players, we're all very, very self-critical of ourselves and our own performances, and I don't think anyone will be more than ourselves. So we have to be honest with ourselves, and everyone was very disappointed with the result.
Aston Villa have a new goalkeeper. Dean Smith's side have signed Emiliano Martinez from Arsenal for a fee of $22 million. And there was defeat for two Premier League sides in the League Cup. Southampton lost 2-0 at home to Brentford. Leeds were beaten 9-8 on penalties by Hull after their match finished level at 1-1. And for more football news from the BBC, go to bbc.com/football.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Welcome back. We're reaching home stretch on Sports Bank this morning. If you're an Arsenal fan, I don't know if this news should interest you. Arsenal are in the running for the signing of Osem Aouar. Potentially, there are 3 members of the squad who should be leaving, and that should free up space and money to be able to sign him. Lucas Torreira, Socrates Papastathopoulos, and Sead Kolasinac could be on their way out of the Emirates, and that could mean more funds added to the money gotten from Martinez's sale to be able to fund the Aouar. And
then also because of the quota, you shouldn't have more than 17 players, foreign players above the age of 21 in your team, and they already have about 18 now, so they need to leave let go some of those foreign players. So maybe that is why they're trying to do that. If you want to bring in you need to bring let go of about 3 foreign players, and that's what they're doing. So maybe good times for Arsenal now. They're in celebratory mood over there.
You've always said something unfair about Arsenal winning the league. Can you say that?
Well, maybe
even though it was different from the prediction in mid last
Exactly.
Okay, I'm looking at the Golden Boy Final 40 here. Borussia Dortmund pair, Erling Haaland and Jadon Sancho, along with Bayern Munich's Alphonso Davies and Manchester United missing Greenwood.
And that should be the winner.
They had the list of Golden Boy for 2020. Okay, Mason Greenwood is not the only English player there on the list. There's also Bukayo Saka. There's Phil Foden as well on that list. Callum Hudson-Odoi also on the list. Guys, a parting shot. We have to leave this morning. Thanks for being here.
Always a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
And Faith Adediji, thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure as well.
Front page of Sporting Live here. Dele Alli left out of local Podi versus Tottenham. My name is Blessing Fowowe. Have a great Thursday. Wherever.
Here is
105.5.
Last week, the delivery man arrived with all the designer stuff I ordered for my post-COVID fashion range. Oh, shit! I was expecting another one, but to my surprise, it was my future self saying,
Mary, don't ruin our future by overspending on fashion. Save more for later by adding